Hello world. Today's video is a simple HYPERPOP and digicore vocal preset that I made for you guys using stock plugins inside of FL Studio. This is more of a clean style vocal preset. If you're looking for something more pitch shifted or formanted, I also have a preset available for something just like that, and you can go ahead and look at the first video in the description link below. But if you just want something more clean and straightforward, then this is the preset for you, and you can go ahead and use the download link at the top of the description to download it right now. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to use it, how to apply it, and the easiest ways to use presets in general. But before I do that, I just want to give you guys a quick preview of what it sounds like.
I'm still here all alone, but I will make it on my own. I know you think I've grown, but this apartment's not a home. I miss my family, but something's stopping me. I should call, but I can't handle these things properly. I wonder if they're thinking of me honestly. Most of my friends still haven't visited the property.
So right off the bat, if you want that more clean sounding vocal where the auto-tune doesn't hit as hard, then I highly recommend manually pitching your vocals prior to using this preset. And that's because we will be using the stock plugins like I mentioned. In FL Studio's stock auto-tune is called Pitcher, and it creates more of a harsh auto-tune sound than other auto-tunes like Antares auto-tune. And a good way to avoid that is to manually pitch your vocals. If you're not sure on how to manually pitch your vocals or what that means, I'll have a tutorial linked down in the description to that as well to show you guys how to use stock plugins inside of FL to manually pitch your vocals prior to using these presets. So if you want to go check that out and then head back to here and load in the presets and we can kind of work from there. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to load presets in general and how presets kind of work. So let's say you're looking at an empty mixer track and you have your main vocals being sent to that track. Let's say you sent your main vocals to track 45. You're going to want to right click that track and then go to File and Open Mixer Track State. And if you placed my presets in the right spot, then you'll see them in your list of presets. And if you haven't, then this will just be empty or have other presets, and you can copy and paste from the zip file in the description all of the presets, and they'll be right here to open. There'll be two versions of the preset in the description. There'll be an advanced version and there'll be a more basic version. The one that we're working off of right now is the advanced version, and the main difference being that this one comes with a left and a right so that there's separate panned vocals to give it a more of a stereo shaping effect. If you don't want to go the route of the more advanced one, then you can just use the one that comes with the center, the high, and the two main vocal buses as well as the background, and that'll be a lot simpler to use, and it will still give you a nice stereo enhanced effect because I'll have stereo enhancing applied to that one. So working from the advanced presets, we're going to go ahead and load in the Petro Clean Center, and this will be the one that your main vocals lead to. And then for this advanced one, you're going to want two more vocal takes, and you're going to want to load in the left and right presets right next to the main preset. And again, to do that, you right click, go to File, Open Mixer Track State, and then you load in the different presets. So we have the left, main, and right here. The next step that you're going to want to do is load in the vocal buses. And while we're at it, we might as well load in the background preset and the high preset. So what you're going to want to do is select all of these presets at once, background, left, right, and main. And in order to select them all at once, you hold Control and Shift. With them all selected, go to the bottom right of the main preset, right click and click Route to this track only, and that will send them all to the vocal bus. And what a vocal bus is it's a bunch of different effects that will be applied to everything that is being routed to them. And so by routing all of our presets to this, they will all be affected by the same load order of vocals. Next up, you're going to want to do the same thing with the high preset, but this time you're going to want to route to this track only to the clean high vocal bus. And with those in place, I'll basically show you guys what's happening with your vocals and what these chains are doing. Like I said, I used all stock plugins, so this should be available for anybody using FL. And the first thing that's in the load order is Maximus. I personally like to use Spitfish as a de-esser, but this is what Maximus is doing for us. It's de-essing. And if the de-esser isn't sounding as great as you'd like it to, there's multiple options. So you can switch to the narrow band or split band de-esser by just going to presets and switching back and forth. I have it set to the split band de-esser because that's what worked for me inside of this preset. Next, we have pitcher, and this is why I suggest manually pitching your vocals, because pitcher will give it a pretty harsh auto-tune effect. And with the manually pitched vocals, I'm able to keep pitcher to a medium and still have a nice auto-tune sounding vocal. Next, we have parametric EQ. Normally, you don't even need to parametric EQ your vocals prior to using a compressor, because the compressor is going to take away a lot of that shaping and a lot of those frequencies in general. But I like to do so just to give it that extra oomph prior to compressing it. And then I compress my vocals, add some basic reverb, use a limiter to limit my vocals and add some gain as well. And then in the basic version, the stereo enhancer will be turned on because you won't have the left and right takes, and it gives you more of a full sound for your vocals. But in this version, it's turned off because the left and right takes take care of that. And then we reshape the vocals a little bit with this parametric EQ. We add a little delay, and then we send it to the bus. And in the vocal bus, there's just a compressor which compresses all of the takes together to blend them together, as well as a maximus to give it a little blending in the mids, high, and lows, as well as just some gain in general and some more compression. And finally, we have another parametric EQ, which is basically just cutting some low ends out and covering all our ground. High vocal bus is pretty similar, doing the same exact thing with a little bit of different maximus and compression settings just to compress those high vocals and bring them out fully as well. The high preset has a love filter to kind of separate it and put it behind your main vocals, and the rest of it's pretty similar except for the stereo shaping, which surrounds your vocals with your high pitched vocals. You can ignore this fruity peak controller. I have a tutorial on how to dynamic sidechain EQ, and that peak controller really applies to that, because when I made this preset, I made it so that your high vocals would pull away the mid frequencies and the high mids very slightly from your main vocals. And if you guys want to see that tutorial, I'll also have that linked at the bottom of the description once it's out, and you guys can go ahead and check that out and learn a little bit more about dynamic sidechaining and how to dynamic sidechain EQ. So to put it in simpler terms, you load in the vocal presets and then you route them directly to the proper buses, and you send your vocals to these mixer tracks, the center being your main vocal, the background being your background vocal, and the high being any higher pitched takes that you take. And by doing this, you'll basically have the preset ready to go, and it should sound similar to the way that I just showed it, as long as you're relatively in pitch and your vocals aren't too crazy loud or distorted. If you're having trouble with any hissing noises or you need to denoise your vocals, I also have a tutorial on denoising, so I'll definitely link that below as well, and that will help you remove any background noise, echoes, or noise that might be caused by the size of your room or distortion inside of your mic. Thank you guys so much for watching, and so much love to all of you. Let me know in the comments if you like this vocal preset and if it helped with your mixing at all, and if there's anything that I did not explain well enough or if I went too fast, let me know in the comments, and I'm always more than happy to help. Thank you guys again, and peace.